Let's talk with Trey, discussing life day by day. Together we can pave the way. The next show is underway. Let's talk with Trey, discussing life day by day. Together we can pave the way. The next show is underway.
Hey, welcome to Let's Talk with Trey Bryant for yet another episode of Let's Talk with Trey Bryant. All right. So if you guys haven't seen some of the other episodes, please check them out, like them, share them, and subscribe to this channel so you can continue to get some of these. We have some great topics that we did already, and we have some that's coming up, right? Today's topic, and we're going to dive right into it, is church hurt. What do I mean by that? Well, we have individuals that attend church or stop going to church because they are hurt. Well, you may ask, well, why when they go to church if they're hurt? Yes. But the problem in some cases then is that they may go to the church and get hurt all over again. So let's touch into that just briefly. But before I do that, let me put a disclaimer out and say that this is not for an attack on church leaders, on church as an organization, or as church members, or any of that. So deacons, bishops, reverends, pastors, ministers, chill for a moment. This is not an attack on you. What I'm trying to do is show awareness to this issue so that we can be attentive to it and share just share some attention to it and see inwardly if anything may be affecting your church, your body, and so forth, so that we can continue to go on and help each other out. Because again, this is what this podcast is all about. It's helping out each other so we can continue on moving and persevering through this thing called what? Life. So with that, I got the disclaimer out there. Let's talk about hurt. Well, hurt is a vital part of our journey in life, right? You're going to get hurt, right? You can try to avoid as much as you want, but it's going to happen. Whether it's family members, work, church, for example, or other things, those things can come to affect you in your day-to-day operation of moving on with life, right? So when we have those things that come up, hurt from relationships, hurt from marriage, hurt from divorce, hurt from friendship, hurt from someone attacked you at work, right? Because that never happens, right? So when you have those things that's going on, one of the places, there are multiple places, and I'm not just saying it's church, but one of the places that people go for relief is church, right? So leaders in the church, members in the church, we have got to be reminded that what we say and what we do affects people either in a positive way or in a negative way. So we're talking today on the negative portion, right? We also got to remind ourselves that if we are hurt and we are in a position of leadership in the church or in a position of even hospitality or whatever, that we have to be careful and realize that we can't help someone if we're hurt. Hurt people hurt people. And it has nothing to do with if they're in church. You don't get an excuse because you're a church elder, bishop, pastor, minister. It's no excuse. We are human. What's bad and inexcusable is if you know you're hurt and you're continuing that capacity of leadership, because everyone has some type of leadership in ministry. Even if you're a congregation member and you're talking to someone, you are ministering to them, right? So I've seen in the past where church people will claim that they're supporting and trying to help someone heal who's not healed from their own situations, and not even knowingly project that on, that negativity and all, to individuals within the congregation. Not just the congregation, but within your fellow leadership members, right? So we have got to realize that those particular things hurt other individuals and in turn hurt the church, meaning church hurt people. How could that possibly happen if you're a real church? It happens all the time. And then you sit and wonder why membership is getting smaller and smaller. Or in turn, in the opposite, some are getting bigger and bigger. Doesn't necessarily mean because you're getting bigger that you're teaching the right thing. It could mean that everybody's just in agreement with what you're saying. So what's the purpose of this, Trey? The purpose, I just spoke to myself in third or whatever. The purpose of this is to put awareness to, hopefully, people start realizing, looking at themselves, looking in the mirror, and see what are you projecting. And in this particular situation with church people, because we can end up hurting individuals and changing their projectile or wherever they're going and what they're supposed to do in life based off the few words that we say. Because your tongue brings words. Those words are powerful. We need to be reminded that we can turn individuals into a journey or onto a journey that's not even meant for them. And we got to be held accountable for that. So why continue to do that? And why, just because you have a title or you have a position that comes with a title that you believe gives you the opportunity to act the way you want to act? Let me give an example of one. I'm not going to mention any church names, so the person, if they're watching this and you know I'm talking about you, sorry. But I'm not sorry, because this needs to be broadcast. We're an individual that I was part of a church on, and this is how minute some of this goes. There's a lot of other stuff too, right? But you would have the head of this individual talking about another individual on the shoes that they were wearing. Now, both of them were part of leadership. We were all part of leadership. I didn't understand what the issue was as this one individual was talking to me about, can you believe this, and that? And it's about her shoes. My thing was, okay, what's wrong with they black? I mean, we're supposed to have white shoes? I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, what is going on? Truth of the story is, she was upset and saying that this individual of leadership should not wear pointy shoes. She had pointy shoes, and the individual that was talking about it had round shoes. And I went, okay, what's wrong? So she's like, she's wearing that. You shouldn't wear that if you're part of leadership. You shouldn't wear pointy shoes. They should be round shoes. I'm like, what part of the Bible does that say you can't wear pointy shoes? I mean, back then in the Bible, they were lucky to have sandals. I mean, I don't understand this, but it's a lot of tradition that goes on that man brings into and try to say this is of God's work, right? We have got to stop that. I'm going to put a disclaimer out. For those that don't know, I am a minister, vocational minister, translation, part-time, right? So I've ran across a lot of stuff, right? There is nothing in the Bible that says you have to have pointed black shoes if you're part of leadership and you're female. What's the next thing? Oh, now it's what she's wearing is, okay. How long the skirt's supposed to be? Come on now. So we have got to stop that, because things like that affect not just congregation members who are watching this, by the way, but they will go into the community and say what they witnessed. So what are you really doing? You're not only affecting the member that you're talking to that's negative, not only affecting the members in the congregation who, I promise you, that social network goes like crazy. Everybody going to know before the sermon is even over, right? But you're also affecting the community. And in effect, the type of church that you have, denomination, whatever, and then it's getting talked about. So you're thinking you're just trying to prove a point with an individual, and you're not realizing you're affecting the community and possibly the nation and the world. So what am I saying? Stop it. What are some of the other stuff that we talk that they talk about? I ain't gonna prove myself in this. that they may talk about it's negative, that we have got to get over and get better, folks. Come on, church folk. We go and judge right away. And we'll judge a particular community. We'll judge a particular individual based off what we think is right. Not what God thinks is right, but what we think is right, because we're translating into what, like, we have the authority to say what God is saying. as opposed to looking in your Bible yourself and reading exactly what it is. We offer our own translation, when really we should have that connection with God. Everyone can get that connection with God. You don't have to go through the round-toed elder in the church or a pastor or whatever to get it. Start getting your connection with God, right? Otherwise, you'll fall into these prejudgments and all this individual kind. What are some of the topics that areas that people talk about in the church that we really need to wake up, church, and start accepting folks in? We'll block people away from if they were alcoholic. If they are alcoholic, we need to look at them a certain way. They don't belong here. We'll accept them for a little bit, see if they get right. Come on now. Liars. We let the liars and adulterers slide off a little bit, don't we? Because that's not big. That's not a big sin, right? Oh, they just lied. That's not a big sin. Oh, they adultered. Well, let me tell you something. A sin is a sin is a sin. So let's stop it. If you're going to hold one person accountable in your world of prejudging, then you should hold everybody accountable in your world of prejudging. What I'm saying is you shouldn't judge them because that's not your responsibility as a church. It's not my responsibility. It's not anybody's responsibility but God's. So stop it. One big area as well, and let me see if I get this right. LGBTQ plus community. Did I get that right? Got it. So they get attacked constantly. Why? You don't want them part of the church? You don't want the daughters part of the church? You don't want the adult entertainers? Entertainers mean prostitutes, strippers. What else out there? Would you get what I'm getting at? They can't be part of your church. Where are they going to go? Maybe they shouldn't come to your church if you act like that. Where are they going to go? We need to be more mindful of how we're acting and treating folks. When I'm talking about is church folk. And if your leaders of the church really see what your particular leaders and your members of your church are projecting to folks. Because it's not just about your numbers in your church. It's about the numbers of souls that's going to be saved for God. Okay? That's what it's really about. So stop pramping around and, making yourself look good at what you did for the community in your church. And really give the honor and glory and all to God. And you'll be more humbled so you can see what's going on within your church and correct the individuals. Judgment is for God, not for us, right? I'm going to say one more thing, too, before I close. I know this is a little quick one because it's just it's not trying to beat up the church folk. Really not. But if we don't reach out and open our arms to everyone that we claim sin, right? And forget that we sinned in the past and still sinning, you're judging, you're sinning now, So, and remember one of the parables that Jesus did and was talking to individuals. And I believe that was in Luke. It could have also, I think it's also in Matthew as well, in other books. If you had 100 sheep and one went away astray, are you happy with that 99 that you got and say, oh, well, with the one? Or do you go after that one? I'm saying we follow the teachings of Jesus and we follow and look and find that one and be happy that we got that individual back and celebrate as opposed of attacking and pushing them aside. That's true followers of Jesus Christ. That's Christians who are supposed to be followers of Jesus Christ. If you claim yourself to be a Christian, right? You're supposed to be following Jesus Christ's teachings, not making up your man-made philosophies and calling it Jesus' teachings. But that's another topic. All right. So back to this. Let's just focus on what we need to do. And with that, I'm going to close out with actually a scripture, Luke 15:4-6. I made it short for you here. And I'm going to read it to make sure I don't miss anything. And this is Jesus speaking to him, right? Suppose one of you have 100 sheep, loses one of them. Doesn't he leave the 99 in the open country, and go after the lost sheep until he finds it. And when he finds it, he joyfully puts him on his shoulders and goes home. Then he calls his friends and neighbors together and says, "Rejoice with me. I have found my lost sheep." That's how we should be looking and coming into individuals that we may disagree with lifestyle, what they do online and all. Open the arm and try to embrace them and teach them about life. But you can't do that if you're hurt. So let's stop this church hurt and start with the healing so that we can go ahead and make this a better family, better community, better nation, better world. Join me with that. How about that? All right. So with that, I'm going to close with saying again, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Let's Talk with Trey Bryant, where we do real talk. And we are here for you so we can live through this thing called life together. Again, thanks again. Tune in, always subscribe, like, and share this channel. With that, God bless you. Out.